just more like a switch.
Well, the pub is, the pub is the one, so everything out of here is like, basically we're live every Saturday. We weren't live last Saturday because the philosophy show got canceled, or it got rescheduled, I guess, because, you know,
Well, you had philosophical qualms about the show?
Yeah. Well, we were going to talk about, policing, like the philosophy behind, like, having, like, militarized police, or different kinds of police, or different, like, legal type things. But we'll talk about it next month instead, just because there was some personal stuff going on in people's lives, which is, you know, it happens. Yeah. As you do.
We see any interesting folks in the chat.
Oh my God! Hello, everybody.
Even Lowen Videos is here. Hey.
Hello. Hi, Sapphire. Hi, Ashley. How you doing?
I hope everybody's ready to have a good weekend. And it's rum and coke night tomorrow as well.
Oh yes, that's right. I'm not sure I'm gonna get some coke, but I might have rum.
Yeah, do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
Do it. Do it. Do it.
I know where's that coming from.
Do whatever you wanna do.
Oh, I guess we're starting.
Yay.
I gotta go to press the other button again. I'm sorry, I didn't time that very well. Hi!
Hey, Smitty.
What's up?
Hello!
Fire.
Hi, everybody.
Hey,
Welcome back to the
videos.
Volcano Show. We are a volcano tracker. We are tracking the volcano Kilauea in Hawaii. I am here with Landon and Maanyaa. Welcome back to Debate Hub. Somebody recently accused me of saying that I believe that I am a debater, which I think is hilarious. What I am is the master debater. Master of ceremonies as it is. Welcome! How is everybody doing? I hope everybody's ready to have a good weekend. But today... You guys ready? What are you up to?
Today!
Hi.
Yeah, I'm ready. And definitely we can debate over DX as a derivative of debating.
Yay! I'm looking forward to rum and coke tomorrow. I think it's gonna be a good time. What's going on, Landon?
Yes, bring your rum or a Coke, or don't bring it, but just show.
Show up with order milk at the bar. Do it.
Do it. Do it. Do it.
Yay! What's going on with our volcano, friends?
Friends all around the
Well,
world.
we have some interesting stuff. So by the way, I thank you very much for showing up to the Volcano Show, particularly those that have been here for a while. We've been going for a couple of years now, and hopefully those that continue to watch are beginning to get the rhythms that volcanoes go into. That's really important, because when the volcano's in a rhythm, it tends to be a little bit more predictable. And when the rhythm starts to change, then you go, ooh, and you step back. So shall we, and of course, I think we do when we on this channel, as we talk about, you know, we emphasize the fact that volcanoes are really quite common. There are actually lots of volcanoes on the planet erupting at this time. Unlike you might see the so-called History Channel that wants to make it seem like the end of the world because of volcanoes erupting. No, they're very common. And so we look at usually who's erupting, and of course, those that know, Italy has its two, Stromboli and Etna, that are perennially erupting. Iceland looks like, of course, Iceland has fun volcanoes with names that are really long and interesting to pronounce. I won't embarrass Chess by asking her to pronounce that.
Don't do this to me. Don't, please.
Don't.
Don't.
No.
But Iceland seems to be having in the Reykjavik Peninsula some activity. There is a upward magnetic mass that's pushing up in the region, that's suggesting that something might happen soon. So and Iceland volcanoes. A sad thing, of course, is that sometimes Iceland volcanoes can be quite cranky. Although ones in the peninsula to be less cranky than the ones farther east, but it seems like Iceland is revving up again. Let's stop that. So African Ocean, you have Ethiopia, where the African continent is being torn in two. You have your Indian Ocean one, Barren Island, DR Congo, and La Reunion. There, Indonesia, which usually is the top hit parade, is now at 7. They actually had, there were 6 earlier today, and now they're back up to 7. So they usually the places that are the most number of volcanoes. Nothing going on in Alaska, Aleutian, North America at this point. They're right. Sitkin is in a watch thing, but it's not erupting. North America, you've got your provincial one in Mexico, the 2 in Guatemala, 1 in Nicaragua. South America has actually a couple. Now Chile actually has 2. The Andes, the Chilean Argentine border has a couple. There's Peru, Peru, and Ecuador. Actually, one in Colombia now that started. And of course, Sandwich Islands have been going for a while. Erebus is kind of always erupting. It's one of those continuous eruptions. Kilauea is erupting in the Pacific Ocean.
Nice.
You've got 2 in Papua New Guinea, Solomon Islands, Tonga, and Vanuatu. And of course, when they say erupting, it's been an eruptive phase for Kilauea. It's an eruptive phase for a while. Kamchatka was up to actually it has changed. It's got 5. It had 6, but one of them stopped just recently. And so Russia and Faroe Islands have 6. Japan has 2. Philippines has 2, and so lots of volcanoes going. Fairly common. So we tended to focus on what's happening with the Kilauea volcano in Big Island, Hawaii, something referred to as Madam Pele. And right now we say that the eruption is paused by means that it has not yet had episode 42. So since Christmas Eve of 2024, Kilauea has had these episodic eruptions where the mountain inflates and it reaches some peak. The magma reaches the surface, has a big, giant, nice, pretty fountain. It goes for a couple hours to maybe 3/4 of a day, and then stops. And they've had 41 of these events so far. And we thought that episode 42 would be happening by now, or would have happened a day or 2 ago, but it had a little bit of a change. And so those that have gotten used to thinking, oh, this is what Kilauea always does, Madam Pele says, let's do something. So we look at, one of the key things we look at is the deformation, that is the tilt meters, how much the ground is tilting back and forth. And here a graph, we pay attention to the blue graph here, and the blue graph is showing you the tilt. The scale here is in microradians, as great as 5, so it's actually pretty big tilts. And if you look over the past 3 months, you'll see these down drops, and the down drops is when the fountain occurs, right? The mountain builds up pressure, gets rise up and up and up, and at some point the magma reaches the top, breaks through, and drops again. But this particular episode, which probably would have been starting by now, had this little dipsy doodle. Right? So look at this. Look at things happening right here. Right. This is or down here. You'll see that it actually had a deflation. Now there was a little bit of deflation. This was 4140 prior to 40, which delayed the onset. A little bit on here that delayed the onset, but it came back. This deflation is actually much more noticeable. I mean, it actually went down probably about 3 microradians before coming back up, and it looks like it's going down again. So it looks like we're having these deflation and inflation cycles. Classically, Kilauea has deflation followed by inflation. So you get this downward decelerating deflation. It reaches an inflection point and does an upwards decelerating to the top. And that's what you see is this downward accelerating and then reverses itself. The model here, so what's happening here is the magma underneath, instead of just building up pressure until it breaks through and then goes pew, what happened was the magma was reaching the surface. It had enough gas to come out the vent that caused the magma to lose its loft, and the magma that was near the surface sank. And it required the magma chamber to sort of roll over, turn over, where if you think of like fizzy water or soda, the soda fizzed out, and so it sank. It became denser. It sank down in, and fresh magma, it rolled over, and fresh magma rolls to the surface. So this is the sinking down and rolling over magma to the surface. It looks like we are having another one of these things, because the question is, when is the fountain going to occur? And of course, you can't really tell when you go to look at the longer set. You can't really say it's going to occur at that line or that line, right? That kind of depends upon factors. But it seems like, as in here, it has had some back and forth. Now, the question is, what is happening in Kilauea? Well, it's been doing this since Chris's Eve of 2024. Why is it here? You say, well, that's true, but classically, Kilauea has these deflation and inflation cycles, and you have lots of DI events that occur every couple of days. Usually not this fast, because this occurred. If you look at time, this particular thing occurred over about a day, but nevertheless, you look at what's happened here, right? This deflation inflation cycle happened over a couple of days and came back, but it looks like it's having another one, right? So we presume that there's not enough magmatic pressure. There's not enough magma, which is all gases that are boiling, coming out to cause it to push to the surface. That might be a sign that the magma coming from deeper below is not coming up as fast, right? The thing we've gotten used to with these episodes is this fountaining events, but that's actually been unusual if you consider the past 50 to 70 years. The buildup pressure has a giant outflow, goes for several days to weeks, and then stops. And of course, we had the 35.5-year eruption where it was just going. So is this little dipsy doodle thing here, is this a reversion back to the norm? Is this a sign that the eruptive episodic eruptions are coming to an end? And we'll see. I mean, because I've been watching to see, when it looked like earlier here, it looked like, okay, it reaches a peak, it's heading towards an eruption, it just had a little bit of divot, but it's going back down again. Last night, the vents were glowing nicely. You could tell that magma is near the surface enough that you could see the glow, but well, it's doing something different. Let's look at things in more detail. If we look at the GPS thing again, here's showing the past 3 months, and we can see again this little divot is a little bit more than what happened here. If we look at the data in terms of the distance across the caldera, this is the time period where the Christmas Eve started this episodic eruption, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. You can see in this timeline more up, down stuff. You can tell it's kind of stalling there. It hasn't really widened as high as the other ones. It's kind of stalling, but will this continue? Will this back and forth thing that we see with this deformation, is this back and forth thing gonna wander around, or will it just surge through and fountain just a little bit later? That's for us to, when we come to the make your predictions, what's going on. Now, in terms of what's happening, this is what it looked like on December, about 3 days before this episodic period started. This is what the caldera looked like. And if you look in this region here, you see a couple of the events that erupted where there's cracks on the side, where the dark material where it came into the Maanyaa cluster. This is like
Could you
now,
zoom
right?
that in for us a little bit?
Okay, let's do that. So let's go doot. Did it? All right, it went too far. There it is. So this is what it was before, and we can see that we have these events, sort of that come to the side. This is like now. So that the before and after, you can tell it's put out since this episodic eruption a lot of material, and has sort of, this was a lot of down areas here. That's where Gilligan's Island used to be, and that spot. It's all covered over and is in here. We can see on the side the two vents that have been causing a lot of the fountaining. You can see, how you look over where those vents occur, how that side is built up, right? Before, after, right? You can tell it's built up quite a bit. It's mounded quite a bit. The old caldera rim has now mounded quite a bit from those fountains that are occurring. So again, in terms of the past week, the floor of the caldera has been relatively level. If you look at earthquakes, right? So here the color tells you the depth of the earthquake, right? And what this is basically showing you is that there's a lot of shallow earthquakes near the summit. There's a bunch of deep earthquakes down here. This is where we think them coming up from deeper in the mantle, and it heads up in this region, has lots of deep earthquakes. See these deep earthquakes here? Those are deep earthquakes. This is more the shallow bits here. Notice that the deep earthquakes have kind of paused. Around the same, and this is a timeline. If you look at the, in terms of, I'm sorry, this shows you the longitude. They've been going back. I'm sorry, I correct myself. The deep earthquakes have been going for a while. They've been little pauses, but they've kind of been steady there. This is suggesting there's still magma deep from the mantle coming up towards the surface. It's not as if it's gone quiet. It's just that doesn't seem to be reaching perhaps the number of earthquakes has been slowing down. Remember, we had a bunch of earthquakes to the south of the caldera for a while, thinking that maybe the magma, but it stopped. And again, the deformation data they're suggesting this is showing that you're no longer having these reach a peak and down drop with a big fountain. And again, the quakes showing that there are we still have these deep quakes coming on the side, reaching the caldera summit up here. Now, when you look at the month-wise, there's plenty of, if you look here, here's the month in earthquakes. There's plenty of deep earthquakes, like 30 kilometers, these blue dots down here. There's plenty of things over the past month. I wouldn't say that it stopped. I mean, it certainly has been going back and forth. The number of quakes up the top has slowed down. We did have a big burst of earthquakes here, but that kind of stopped. So we had bursts, but it seems like the quakes maybe getting a little bit. But remember, quakes are going to occur where magma is moving someplace else and cracking the rock. Go ahead.
Yeah. So remind me, if there are no deep earthquakes, so that means that the magma is not moving, but just accumulating.
Well, the magma is not moving to new areas, right? If you've got a crack with magma that flows up through the cracks, flows up to the pipes, it's not going to necessarily generate earthquakes. If magma is pushing over pressure and pushing into rocks and cracking the rocks and starting to move, then you'll get earthquakes.
Okay.
And those earthquakes will.
Yeah.
So it
Got it,
suggests
got it.
that the magma may not be on the move.
Okay. Gotcha.
But that just means that it could be coming up right now. And now, so this
It might be
red line
getting
here
ready
shows
for
us.
the next like eruption or something. It might be something
Well,
like
yes,
that
because
might be happening.
we saw a pile of quakes showing up here, right? This is over the past month.
Yeah.
There's these orange ones. We saw a bunch of quakes a little bit to the south of the caldera, thinking that the magma might be on the move. Now, these quakes down here, all this stuff down here, this is because essentially the volcano's mass is pushing against the island, and the island is slowly sliding towards the ocean.
Yeah, sure.
At some point
Yeah.
in the geologic soonness, but not necessarily in our lifetime, this side of the island is going to give way and going to get a giant tsunami. In fact, if you look at the seafloor, you see lots of slides. You see big slides where the material comes down. So that Kilauea at some point is going to put up so much mass that that side of the island is going to slump in and create a nasty tsunami. But that's likely down the road.
Okay.
This is just the creaking there. This is the stuff where people thought, oh, maybe the magma's on the move. Maybe it's going to go down the spine. But it didn't. It stopped.
Yeah.
And showed there. So
it's hiding somewhere.
Well, and again, there is, if you look at the earthquakes, let's look at it for time-wise, right? The deep earthquakes here are coming up from this region over here. Here's the summit. Here's the kind of the pipe. This pipe feeds Kilauea, Mauna Loa, Wololai, and the seamount that's formerly known as Loihi. This is the hot spot, if you will. And Kilauea is the most successful spot. This is the hot spot thing. And we see that there's quakes down here where the magma is exerting pressure on the rock 30 kilometers-ish deep. So it's not as if the thing is draining back in. It's not as if it's lost its loft and the volcano is going to go quiet for a period of time. If you look at time-wise here, we had piles of quakes suggesting that the magma might have been on the move towards the surface, but it stopped, right? It's gone back down. If we look at the maps, again, is the typical map showing you what we saw in the in that picture. And again, this is through episode 39. And again, we see that you have these two vents up here that are creating the fountains, and it's building up a lot of materials. This tephra here deposit is building up lots of material. We saw that in the image of how much this side thing has actually gone to the point of up near the rim. This is still down below a ways, but nevertheless, it's building up a lot of material. If we look at the thermal map, so this was showing you, this was after, I believe, episode 40. So we're waiting for 42. This is 40. And we see the heat that came. Here are the two vents and the lava that poured out, the large amount of lava that poured out on the surface. We see still it's quite warm. A little high spot here where it went around, high spot here, but otherwise it's sort of filling in the area. And again, you look at the scale, this is like 1 kilometer here. So this is a pretty good distance. A lot of, very large amounts of flow that are coming. Yeah. We look at earthquakes. So I mentioned again that we had this swarm of earthquakes to the south. So we saw a whole pile of earthquakes starting to show up in this region, right? All these little circles are earthquakes. This occurred over a period between January 12th and January 22nd. Earthquakes not at the rim, but to the side. Remember that the magma is coming in from farther down here, right? Here's look at the inset of the area with the spine. The magma is coming up around here and heading to the surface. This was suggesting or hinting at that magma may be returning back to the east rift zone. Very, very common place for Kilauea to have the magma comes up near the surface and then goes to the side. For nearly 30 years, the magma would come up very surface, head sideways, and come out right where this east rift zone line is. That was called Pu'u'o'o, a side vent. It poured out lots, like 4 cubic kilometers of lava over a period of about 30 years. And then that crater collapsed, and we thought, okay, this cone collapsed. The eruption is done, but Madam Pele said no. It pushed underneath the collapsed cone, went all the way out to the edge here, and flowed out in great number, about a cubic kilometer over a period of about 2 months. A huge outflow. The result was that the summit lost its support and fell in, and at the time of the depth, which was around August 2018, the bottom of the pit was halfway to sea level from what it was now. It has filled in most of that. Go ahead.
So it kind of, like, if I may, it's kind of telling us that it's not necessary that wherever the lava is accumulating, it's gonna show something movement there. It will probably put the pressure somewhere where the rock is the weakest. And at that time,
correct,
the magma, because it's underneath the surface, so it's called magma, right? So the magma was putting pressure. The weakest point was, like Madam Pele was like, I can't go here. This is like, the road's closed. This is like a side off road I can take, so I'm gonna just break through here and the barrier here and just go through here. So that's what's happening, right?
Yeah, and Maanyaa, you're raising a really good point. Very good point. Continue what you're saying.
Is that, so what we're learning is that we might see like pressure building, or the meter telling us that this is where the expansion and contraction is happening or something like that, but it might that's not where you will see the effects. You will see it somewhere. It might be there, but it can be somewhere else also, where the rock is the weakest or brittle, if I might dare say. So yeah,
could be. And we know from the structure of this volcano, again, and look at this inset here. This inset here, and let me zoom in just a little bit more. Showing the corner of the big island, and we know that shield volcanoes have these spines, and so the southwest rift zone and east rift zone is where lots of stuff, the magma comes near the surface. It's one of those, because these are giant fault lines, and basically travels down here downwards and comes out. So this, in fact, this is called a chain of craters. If you look here, you can see these cracks and craters as it heads out that direction. This is a very common. But when the summit collapsed to form this down-dropped block, this giant, remember, had this giant pit. We had the lake that formed near the bottom. That seemed to have shut off the easy access to the 2 rift zones. Except then Madam Pele erupted on the rift zone for a couple hours, had a little east rift zone for a couple hours, stopped again, started, stopped in its deflation inflation cycles. And then it paused for a number of months and then started this episodic thing. And the odd thing about the episodic thing was that you got this giant plug of soft rock to hardened rock from because this is filled up quite deep. Again, remember that this particular thing, this has had had a lot of material coming in, and it has in the depth of that pit was almost halfway to sea level, and it's nearly filled it up. So we don't understand why are all these eruptions coming out where it's got this tremendous amount of pressure. We're seeing record heights of fountains. Why is it forcing its way through these holes? Why is it? So when we saw these pile earthquakes between January 12th and January 22nd, we said, maybe the magma is cracking the rock. It's reopening up the east rift zone because there's too much blockage. Well,
Yeah.
after
Well.
January 22nd, it's this all these quakes again. If you look at the quake set, earthquake set here, for let's see, I think it's the here it shows the month. I think is on the earthquake list. This is the week. This one's the month here. Let me go back here. Again, if you look at the quakes, all this burst of quakes stopped. It thinned out. Moreover, this what we thought the magma may be on the move stopped, and it had we had actually several spectacular fountains, record high fountains started again.
Okay, so what it's telling me, if the deep earthquake stops suddenly, right, and so that means like we are not seeing any breakage of rocks and stuff. So the magma is not moving. So either it's gonna come out at the top or somewhere at the bottom. So get ready. That's what.
Yeah, and so I think we see the uplift from the mantle continues, right? So that 30 kilometers we're seeing quakes because there's motion coming forward. This is magma heading up from the hotspot, and Kilauea seems to be the spot where it's most favored because it's the most active. And so and we thought for maybe it was on the move, and it spent about 2 weeks to do it and then stopped. So there's now, if we look at today with earthquakes, this is what it looks like. This is like the last 7 days. And there's only like, if we zoom in here.
These are all the shallow, earthquakes, right?
Yeah. And you look at here, here's Halemaumau Pit. There isn't this giant swarm over here. It's just, there's a couple of, because the rocks crack and so forth. It's not as if it's completely earthquake free, but this is like the last 7 days. The last day, nothing, right? There's no, now, it doesn't mean that eruption stopped. It means that magma is not cracking rock. It's not finding new spots there.
It's accumulating somewhere, but it's like pressing against the wall somewhere, but not able to break the walls. So, yeah, we might get another show, I guess. Okay.
Yes, we might see that. So here is look at this is the last 30 days. So this includes that swarm. So here's the caldera pit. Here's the Halemaumau Pit, and here's that swarm of 30 on 30 days. And it had like 95 quakes in there. But the last 7 days, it's almost nothing. And the last day, it's been
these are the earthquakes, are these, Landon?
These are all the shallow. This is all the shallow stuff near the summit, right?
Oh, the shallow stuff. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, if you
Even
go
the white ones,
into
the white dotted ones also.
Yes, there are shallow ones there. Now, if you look over here, these are deep quakes here. So you look at this. Here's the upwelling spot, and if you look at all magnitudes, this is all those quakes coming up from the deep mantle. So that's just kind of like a common thing. That has lots of quakes on the way up. And again, we saw it from the time. To go back to the timeline, we see the steady stream. Here's days, a steady stream of deep quakes. There was a pile during this time when it seemed like the magma was on the move, but didn't, and now it's not moving at all.
Whoa. Madam Pele, what you up to?
So again, and we don't understand why does it keep forcing its way through these events, creating these fantastic fountains. Why hasn't it broken through? And remember, in the show, we had a couple of things showing that it went down the southwest rift zone for a while and east rift zone for a while. So it's not as if it hasn't done this since the summit caved in. It just seemed to be working hard here. Okay, so we've got this mystery of quakes. Now, if you look at what's happening right now, this is earlier today a webcam from V1 showing the two vents, and you can see here, this glow. You can see that we've got we've got this nice glow because you can tell there's magma to the surface giving this nice red glow. Here's V2. It's got some gas in front of it, so it's harder to see the glow there. And
it's so exciting to see that before we used to have a Gilligan's Island, now we have vents like V1 and V2. So it's like over time, like you can see new discoveries happening, and it's like we give new technical names or like names to them, and it's like so fun.
Yeah, and so I show you what it looks like. What it looked like earlier this morning, Pacific time. Now I'm going to show you what it looks like right now. And we see here, we see right now, there's a live view, and we see, the magma is pretty near the surface, right? Even though it's got this down, the tilt meter has gone back down again after going up a bit and down a bit. We can tell there is stuff, there's glowing stuff close to the surface. Let's look at V2 and what it looks like. You could tell, again, look at that thing. You can tell there's magma near the surface, ready to go. Let's look at what V3 looks like now. And look at that, right? This is, again, live view showing there's stuff near the surface, right? Here's a live view. I finally got the camera. The island was having some communication problems. But this is the live view right now of so we see the north and south of that pair of vents, those two dots. You can tell magma is there, and occasionally, if you watch, you might see the bit of lava go bloop up to the top. Not quite erupting. This is V1. V3 is another thing showing you there's some stuff here. And I was hoping, saying, okay, it's close. Might it actually start during the time? Well, I'll say that this is pretty close to starting. I mean, I can see bits of lava kind of blooping to the side over here and over here. Right? It's not going full tilt, but and if we watch this thing, you can see the cycling occurring. Right? Every couple of minutes, it gets very vigorous. It has to get a lot of gas coming out, and then the lava gets stale and sinks back in, and it goes up and down. So you'll see these like a 5-minute cycles of stuff near the surface, right? And you can see that the splattering occurs on the side here, and maybe during this show, you can tell there's a little bit of leakage that occurred about an hour ago here. A little bit of leakage over here. You see that little spot? It gets to the point where it spills over a little bit. So it's really close. I mean, it's well. In fact, you can see some blooping here, some material. Do you see that? You said that little bit right there that went up near the side and came back down again. Here's some lava fountain there. So it's really close to starting. Except when you look at the tilt meter. Let's go back to the deformation meter. Chesh's favorite.
There's a reason I'm not saying your full name. You're in trouble now.
You can tell it's got a little bit of a deflation, but it's not as if the magma has gone away. It's actually pretty near the surface. So we'll come back and look, because I think we're right at that edge of it just
Madam
starting.
Pele. Yeah, Madam Pele is just waiting for us to finish the show, and she's gonna be like, "Yep, my time now. Get out of the way."
Look, here's some splatter here. There's some splatter here, right?
Yeah.
Made a little bit of dribbles and so forth. So let's look at some other things. I want to talk about what happened in episodic history. So since our previous time, we had a nice flyover here again. This is that down drop block, which has nearly filled up. You'll see a little bit to go. You can tell over here how close the vents are to the top of the caldera wall there. Down here, so it has a little bit ways to go, but it's done a pretty good job of getting close to this January. And of course, during the periods of time when it was episodic and it stopped, then you can come in, land, and they sort of break the take samples here, borrow little baby rocks, and then we put them back. And we don't steal from her children, as they say.
My lady, do we have the permission?
And so we borrow for a bit and put them back.
Research.
That's the agreement.
We promise we will hold your children in great regard.
It's very Star Trek of you.
Yes. There's and besides, the other thing the USGS is not to do is to start the war with the Klingons. That's the other thing they're not allowed to do.
Yeah, probably don't start a war with the Klingons.
So
probably a bad idea.
Yeah.
Especially when you have Dapper on their side. Who knows Klingon?
Yes. And so this is the thing where what we've done
dinosaur.
here. What she's done here is she has taken this hammer and broken through the kind of the crust to get stuff down a little bit lower to again, this is material that came out on episode 40. That's hardened and
I have a question. I know you collect samples and stuff, and I know you're supposed to put them back. But is it possible for you to bring in any old sample for us to have a look at on the camera? Are you allowed? That's the first question. Are you allowed to do that? Yes, can you make that happen?
It's in a national park, so the National Park Service would say no. If I had a reason for analysis, it's there. Now I'll tell you, this. Let me stop the sharing for just a moment. So this mug contains ash from the volcano, although I believe this ash was collected just outside of the national park boundary, which is how, it's sold in a national park. So, but by tradition, there's also by tradition you don't take the rocks, but
it might be possible for Landon to live stream to us if he was there, if he had a rock, maybe.
That's been I've thought about doing a live stream from there.
We've talked about that before, and then the politics went to shit. So
yeah, sorry, trademark Canada. So anyway, but rocks are collected, and if and of course I could, if I had a geologic analysis. I don't, but I had a geologic analysis to analyze rocks, take samples, and process them.
Make a video of
that. Be permitted under a permit.
Like when you're collecting samples, can you make video of that?
He wants a GoPro. Is that what you're saying?
I've been out in the field where I've helped them collect samples for their analysis at the park. But so that's sort of part of the thing is that the Park Service, the USGS collects it within the park, analyzes it in the park, and puts it back. So it's not as if. Besides, you say, why do you put it back? Well, from practical purposes, if you're just collecting rocks, you get a giant pile of rocks that don't do anything. You do your analysis and you toss the rocks back, because otherwise you just fill up with lots of rocks. So anyway, that's a thing showing here. This is an overflight. Seeing those two vents. Now you can tell this is after I think episode 40. So you don't see the red glow here, but those are, you can see the tephra and just how close it's come to the rim there. So here is the start of episode 41. Episode 41 was a pretty amazing episode. This is what it started off as. A little bit earlier than on this photo, you could see, just like we're seeing now, the glow. And it started coming up, glowing, dribbling out back and forth. So this is where it got really starting to go. It then produced this set here. The thing about this particular event, besides the fact it reached, this is like 500 plus meters, like I think like 510 meters high, really tall fountain to that side. The trade winds shifted and blew, because the storm was going by, basically blew material, instead of going to the typically the winds would send it to the southwest or south-southwest. It was actually coming northeast. In fact, at this camera, you can see all this ash and so forth falling down. Now, these are not big rocks; these are fluffy things, but it had a considerable amount of ash coming back this way. So the combination, when the fountains are so high, it's very easy for the winds to carry them, cool them, and drop. So we started getting a pretty big dusting of material. The fountains were just spectacular. He had some of the best fountains we had. And again, these are kind of the ash is kind of like comes down kind of like snowflakes, but it's warm and it's dry, not wet.
Burn, yeah.
Yeah. They're not really hot because these things have floated through the air quite a bit and cooled down, right? It's got lots of surface area. So the time it reaches you this far, they're relatively benign in temperature because they basically floated on the air, cooled down, and there we can tell the loft. Here's there's a lot of material that's being, because it gets so high, the winds were coming in the direction. It started piling up.
How high was this?
So these are around, this was where it was around 500 meters. It got to about 520 meters high. So that's around 1,600 feet for those that are. Yeah. So
that's the highest, isn't it?
so remember, Maanyaa, I said, well, it had these quakes to the south and started rumbling. We thought, oh, the magma's on the move. And then it stopped. And then it came back up with record height again.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, so that's a little bit of a change. But then between 41 and 42, this is 41, and 42 is just starting. It had that little back, that ebb of the inflation, and then went back, and then it's got a slight ebb again. Right? Remember what we saw in the. So the one of the things in particular you could say is that, well, the pattern might be changing. It might be less episodic. It might be getting more DI events occurring. Less of these fountains. Maybe. I mean, we thought between after 40, we saw the all those quakes to the south, all those dots. We thought, okay, the magma's on the move. It's finally decided that it's not worth all the effort to go through this giant rock plug and come out these tiny holes. We thought it was going to on a move, and it didn't. And in fact, it came back as a vengeance to having the best fountains in the entire cycle. And then it had this ebb and flow again. So, you tell us now this particular set here, if we look at, I want to show you, this is episode 40. This is the movie showing you episode 41, sped up. And so watch here for the hour, the time. This is local Hawaii time. Get an idea of time-wise. So here's the case. It's coming up sunrise. And you see that the fountains start really going, and then it really takes off. Of course, you can see at times where the winds blew back, the ash blew back this way. A lot of ash coming forward. And then nighttime had a lot of nighttime glow there, and then stops, right? That's episode 40. Here's another one I'll show you of the B1 camera. So the B1 camera, I've shown you V1, V2, 3. B1 is back. So those pictures you saw of the entire sort of rock down drop block this is farther back. And this is another time lapse you'll see. So there it's starting with the glow. And you see the dribbles again. That's what we're seeing. That's where we're at now. And then it kind of stops and goes and stops and goes. And then it's in this sort of dribbling phase. And that's what we're in right now, where it's kind of glowing. And then all of a sudden it takes off and goes super high. A lot of of dust blows back.
Wow.
But the amount of flow there, again, this is around, they're recording around 600 meters per second. Look at how fast that thing filled up.
Whoa,
Remember,
wow.
this is several kilometers in wide. Look how fast it towards the end, 600 cubic meters a second. So it wasn't a little tiny dribble thing. That was a oomph, and then stopped, right? And this is so it took, again, if we look at the set here, I mean, you could say, well, it kind of was in the camera here. We'll come back to this. Here's another spot here showing you from the flow from the camera.
I'm just thinking the magma is not moving, right? So it's collecting, accumulating, right? And it's like, as I said, causing a lot of pressure somewhere, right? Sitting. Then because of that, it becomes even more hotter. So I guess maybe that's why when it like comes out like that, it's able to travel so fast, because it's really, really hot because of the pressure and stuff. And
those dissolved gases are boiling
because
it reaches towards the surface. It goes towards the surface. The pressure drops. It reaches boiling, and then that boiling gas just launches out. But once it loses its loft, it's gone. Right. That's the part of the key of this thing. Is it once it loses its loft, it's gone there, and we can see. Here's V2 camera again. So we're in the stage where it's almost like this, little bit of dribbles. Again, as I said, and you see this glow stuff. It kind of dribbles back and forth, back and forth. It again, this is like several hours, and then it starts continuously bubbling. And right about now, it takes off. Right, the boiling gets to the point, and it just flows out.
So how many hours were there? How many hours difference is that? Or how many minutes?
Well, you see, if we saw from here, it's like, this is like 10, 11, 12. It's at 13, 14, 15, 16.
No.
17.
I'm asking what's
I'm
the
counting,
time difference
18.
between? No. I'm asking the time difference between when it was dribbling and then it started into a fountain. Okay,
so I think we can see that if we talk about here, we see that around around 3 in the morning, flow was pretty good. To around 6 or so, it started dribbling, doing more dribbling than just glowing. To around 9, it started having bubbling to fountains around
6 hours.
Like 6 hours, and
6 to
then
7 hours.
it spent of building up to it, and even at, so it started at around 12. Even at 19, it still was doing a reasonable amount of fountaining, and then it cuts out. And again, if you look at here, if we look at the stuff, we can see here's V3 camera showing you stuff, and we say, okay, at 3 or so, like it is now, you see a little bit of glows. Around 6, it starts doing some continuous, 5 to 6 continuous bubbling. Around 9, it starts to do 9 or 10. It starts to do some serious fountaining. It takes off at 12. It goes until around 19, 20, and then done.
So around like in 6 to 7 hours, we should expect some news, I guess.
I would normally say yes, Maanyaa. That's very likely what's going to happen. But remember, it appears that the patterns are changing, right?
Okay,
Between 40 and 41, we had a bunch of quakes to the side, so it seems like it cracked a bunch of things there, and then it had this little dipsy doodle on the inflation. So it might be a mistake to assume that the
Yeah, it might take
pattern is going to
longer.
continue.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Could
Sure.
be. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Well, when we
so
make
if you
our
look,
predictions, maybe we can see then.
yeah, we'll see you there. So here is a thing showing you the depth of the tephra, the ash that came. So we see here is the end of the island. You see the kilometers and like 515 kilometers here. We see where the eruptive vents are. We can see where it had a continuous coverage of things in like the C4 millimeter range. It had some large stuff, but there was a reach of material. This is showing you a reach where it actually reached into the kilo and had little 2 millimeter ash that blew this direction. Because normally the trade winds go the opposite direction. So you can tell all this.
That's
This is an
where
area.
civilization is.
Yeah, this is a Bahoa and Hilo airport here. This got a dusting of stuff.
Oh wow.
Of things there. And shows you, for example, here's at the observation spot, and of course, afterwards you use a little snowblower to leaf blower to ash away. We can tell this is around a kilometer away from the vent.
You know what question I'm gonna ask, right?
Yes.
What's the question I'm gonna ask, Landon?
Lung and safety.
Yeah.
Before you ask your question, I want to point
go
out that there's a very big difference between a leaf blower and a snow blower. I just think that's an important distinction to make. They are not interchangeable. You cannot use one to do the other. There, you might get like varying degrees of success for depending on what kind of snow you're dealing with a leaf blower, but it will not let it. They're not the same thing.
Now there is a thing when it gets really thick that a snowblower could take the dust and move it. It's a dry snow, whereas a leaf blower will give you motion of stuff. Whereas if it's light enough, you just sweep it, right? So it's kind of like snowblower if it's thick, leaf blower. But there's a lack of snowblowers in Hawaii. So, and of course, I would say this person here, they don't have hearing protectors, nor do they have masks on here. I don't approve.
Yeah.
I don't approve.
Maybe next time you can suggest them, suggest the locals. Listen, I know you want to get things cleaned up, but maybe, just maybe, get some protection.
So here is a case where it happens. This is now at the other end of the caldera, actually outside of the Volcano House Hotel, and you can see the pelting on here. Again, this is fluffy stuff. This is not like it threw rock. These are fluffy things that sort of came down.
Those look like the dust mites from Spirited Away.
Yes, and so a broom could fix this as opposed to a blower of snow or a leaf, right?
Yeah, sure.
Again, you can see this accumulation of material here, but this is very rich material, so the plant.
Yeah, I'm not here to tell anybody what devices they should use. I just wanted to make sure we knew that there was a pretty big distinction between a snowblower and a leaf blower.
Yeah.
The thing you can't do, Chesh, is drizzle maple syrup on it and then eat it, right? That you can't.
I mean, you could do that, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Yes. And so
I'm not your mom.
You're not my mom.
Of the material that comes. This is at the Volcano House. The plants, I guess, dusting of material here. You can tell, again, this gives you an idea. See how fluffy this thing is, right? This is not.
Yeah.
This is not we're not talking about a giant blob of rock. Let's see if I can move it back. Where did it go? We're not talking about a giant blob of rock. We're talking about.
Landon lost it.
Here it is. There it is.
Oh, there it is. Oh, there we go. Oh, look, so fluffy.
And what it is, you see, it's actually a bunch of rock bubbles, right? This is a bunch of rock foam. This is why this is very light. This is a very light. Again, it's like a bed of snow.
It's porous. It's really porous, isn't it? That's what it is.
Yeah, because it's basically it's the lava, the dissolved gases have come out. It's been cool. It landed on this planet. It didn't burn it, and you can see this material. It shows the battery. Showing the person was showing essentially. Here's here's a blob on the ground, and they just put their hand on it and went smash. Right? It's like saying you got a little tuft of snow and you put your hand on it, and it goes right. So it's not as if it was raining down rocks. It was raining down fluff. Now, from a lung safety perspective, if I was there, I'd have my gas mask on and not breathing this stuff. But yeah. And so here's a case where basically, how did they clear the roads? Well, you just do road washing.
They wet it so that it doesn't fly around in the air, and then they just scoop it up.
Yes, and so these people do have mask protectors on. The other guy didn't.
Okay,
but
that's good.
Knows? Okay, it's saying again, the car. Here, the person's car comes out in their car, and you say, so here's the thing. It may be fluff, but it's also abrasive, right? This is like sandpaper, and so what you don't want to do is use your windshield wipers to basically scrape your windshield. So you lift the windshield up, you wash it off, you don't buff your car and lose your paint. There's another one here showing the photo. So this is a photo showing the what it looks like right this morning. But let's go back and look to see what's the overflight this morning of looking down at the thing. Sorry, late last night. This is last evening, not this morning. Last evening, sunset, and so you don't have quite the glow there yet. But again, you can see just how much it's built up on the side. So let's go back and look at what's the current thing right now. Yeah, it's still glowing here. That's glowing there. I think we're like at that 3 a.m. phase we saw. It may be a couple of hours, but it does look like the eruption is starting. It's in that early stages of stuff. It was more dribbly before. We saw some splatter stuff, and if we watch this, we'll see this thing come and go. We'll see it get more vigorous and less vigorous. It has these cycles that are present there. So that's what Madam Pele is doing. I suppose we can go back to say, okay, so therefore what?
Okay, yeah.
So what do you think?
These are the dust mites I was talking about from
Oh yes,
adorable.
yes.
I love them. They're great.
Yeah.
Why would you say that? Why would you Athens? What did I do to you?
Oh God, Athens.
Lavender maple syrup. You could probably get that. You could get like lavender infused maple syrup. That probably exists. Now I'm gonna look for it. This is what, like, if you want to know what are your thoughts on this? This is my thought. I need to go get like a clip of static so I can just put it over top of my fucking picture, because like, what is my brain doing right now? It's nothing. It's not doing. It's the
dust
No. Yes.
I could get on with the predictions from last time if you want.
Yeah, so let's talk about what we said last time.
There is a question from the chat that I should probably read out first from Low Energy Vids, because I didn't find a good place to slip it in. When was the last time we discovered a brand new active volcano? Which I think is a good question.
So I guess, the one question is, what do we mean by a brand new volcano?
Probably a volcano we didn't know existed beforehand.
So, because there's things where
There are
where
younger
it's a
volcanoes and
volcanic
older volcanoes.
region
Yeah.
and there's a new vent. So we're not talking about a new vent in a volcanic area. We're talking about a new volcano area, and that's been a while. I mean, there are dormant volcanoes that become active again. That's happened where we thought they were
Right.
dormant and turned out they were active. But it's been a while since there's like somebody said, "Oh, we didn't know there was a volcano." Now there's that one in central Mexico where it was volcanic in area, had hot springs, but there's farmers in the field that basically said, "There's hot rocks coming out in the middle of my field." And people looked and say, "Yeah, it's got a little vent and a little cone started building, and now it's a major volcano in central Mexico." So that was a case where it was kind of surprised people. It was in a volcanic region, but if you say, a volcano shows up in Kansas, and I'm not talking about legal volcanoes. I'm talking about geologic. Kansas is unlikely to have a volcano pop up on its own, right? Even if it did, we'd see the earthquakes and stuff telegraphing well ahead of time. So I would say that it's been a while since we've been surprised by an area that didn't. Now, underneath the ocean, there's a lot of subterranean stuff where the ocean vents start where we didn't know the volcano, and then it gets really vigorous, right? So probably I would say an ocean vent where people discover it, in the even in the areas of like the mid 19th century, a ship, we talk about all of a sudden having what they call the wine dark sea, where the ocean turns into wine color. And what happens is there's a submarine volcano underneath them that's sending material up. And sailors talk about all of a sudden rocks start floating on the surface, and the place smells like hell because it's got all these sulfur things and stuff like that. And the fish are cooked, and because they're sitting underneath
pre-toasted fishies.
Yes,
Nice.
not a pleasant
But they have sulfur,
smell.
so maybe not. Yeah, but maybe not. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't stop
When
me.
Madam
You're not my
Pele was
real dad.
cooking fish
I'm your
near
daddy.
the ocean,
I'm your
it
daddy.
stank.
Don't.
You would have
Everybody
a better
knows
chance.
I'm the daddy in the Discord server. I am the daddy here.
You would also have a better chance at stopping me from doing something than my real father
Because
would.
you're tiny and I'm bigger than you, and I can just
That has
bear
nothing to
hug
do
you
with
and
it.
just carry you around.
No, I just like you
That's
better.
all I have to do. That
So,
too.
I would say
want
probably the
elbow
more
button
recent
on
ones
my
would be something in underneath the ocean, where the bottom of the ocean are things that we don't really have as good of a knowledge about.
Oh,
And
James
certainly,
Cameron didn't solve
there
that
are
problem for
accounts-
us.
Yeah, and there's certainly accounts of ships all of a sudden encountering a eruption underneath them, and being surprised. So
I will point
remember
out.
reading.
Sorry, go on.
I read an account of a ship. It was in like near the Philippines, and they thought they were being attacked by the enemy and having cannonballs and bombs dropping on them. It was the enemy nearby, but it was actually a volcano shooting stuff up through the water and raining hot rocks down.
That's
So
Volcanoes like, what's up, bitches?
Player 3
Yes.
has entered the game.
Yes. Anyway, so back to
the enemy's got a layer action. Make sure you get your predictions of what you think is in the chat. In the chat, please put your things in right now. Before you read them, as people are writing these down, I did look up lavender infused maple syrup, and it does in fact exist, and you can in fact buy it, and you can make your own.
Oh, what have you done, Athens?
I figured it existed, and I just thought I'd let you know.
Take a look at the cat's eyes there.
Muffin time.
Pair of. Yeah.
Muffin time.
Oh, look, it's a hole to hell. It's a double hole to
And
hell.
you see a little
What is
spider.
it
I mean,
called?
the
An
camera
orifice.
right now is kind of confused between daytime and nighttime. It's bright enough that it kind of is trying to say this is the daylight, but then it's dark. So yeah, the camera's a little bit confused. It needs to be put into night
Maybe
mode.
the light is not coming from the right angle, so the lens is like, bleh.
I think you're right, Maanyaa.
No cameras
That
were
happens a
harmed in
lot.
the filming of this particular video this time.
Yeah. So I'm gonna call this the episode 42 has started. It's just not fountaining really good. Yeah.
All right,
Okay,
what
so
were the predictions, Maanyaa?
Maanyaa.
Oh, from last time? Okay,
Jinx,
here we go.
Landon.
So Smitty had said, kaboom, whoosh, karpush, to be more specific. And then Travis had said a drone camera will bite it. Oh yeah, will hit by a drone camera will be
What?
on it, hit by a lava plume, but we will get a cool footage from it. That's what they
Did
said
we
about
get
the
any
video.
drone camera footage?
There was a top footage, wasn't it?
There probably was drone camera footage taken. I don't know of any drone that was lost.
All right, no lost drones this time. Good try, Smitty.
No, that's not Smitty, that's
But-
Travis.
But I can tell you, I think part of the reason why is when the winds for episode 41 started going to the northeast, and basically ash was raining down over that area of the island. They stopped drone flights because the drones would be hitting basically airborne dust bunnies. So I think part of the reason was that the air was going there. If it had been going to the southwest, they could have taken drones and come up close to the thing. But it was, as you saw in the footage, it was the winds were kind of shifting around, so they really weren't able to run drones with all that stuff.
Smitty sneaked in 2 predictions actually last time.
Good.
Okay, so next prediction was from Athens. Athens said Kilauea goes boom, more lava and smoke from Kilauea. And then Chesh said Volcano will continue the pattern it is currently on. And then Landon, get ready everyone, it's an essay coming up, so listen carefully. So 2 more episodes between now and next month. That is episode 41 and 42. The episode 41 will have higher fountains than 40. Earthquake swarm that we saw will stop. Will not see magma progression down the rift. So you got everything else except one. That is that there will be 2 more episodes. There has been only 1 episode.
Well, we had 41, and if you call if this is 42, the question would be: is it starting?
Yeah,
yes, that's true.
Though.
That's true. That's true. So yeah, close.
Almost, yeah. But you have been pretty much spot on every time. So, and this time we saw that it's a different pattern coming up. So obviously it was going to be slightly different in predictions too.
Yeah, had it not had the little deflation dipsy doodle, we would have had it. So
yeah, Madam Pele was like
dipsy doodle.
Dipsy doodle.
Is that a technical term? People come here for education.
Dipsy doodle.
I think so. I would call that a little dipsy.
It seems accurate to me.
A dipsy doodle thing here. And it's got 2 of stuff here, but it actually is a deflation, inflation. So we've had 2 DI events.
Yeah, an inflation and a deflation, a dipsy and a doodle. It's trash. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So
go back to
Tina had said 3 episodes before the next show, and then I had said 1 episode before next stream. Short, intense burst, more than 1 vent.
I think you're accurate. We had 1. It was short and intense for a couple of hours. We had more than 1 event. We had 2, but of course we've been having 2 for a while. But
More than
but
one.
yes,
I said
I
more than one vent. So, yeah.
I think you're right. I think you got it there. I think Maanyaa wins the prize.
Yeah.
You were
Right-handed
both
Sid said,
really close.
yeah. Right-handed Sid said, Yellowstone wakes up and stretches its legs. And then Smitty, sneaked in the second prediction and said, Yellowstone is gonna trigger Atlantis to rise from the depths.
Hmm.
Okay, so what is low energies? Prediction: a leakage and a lavender.
Okay,
Low
so what are your
energy.
predictions at chat?
Nobody's being
So those-
serious. Give me a real prediction, you losers.
Yes, go to real predictions. We've got from a month from now. What is it that we will be reviewing?
I think it's gonna
You got
settle
to
down.
decide.
I think the volcano's gonna start settling down, so we're gonna see it and start chilling out.
So Chesh is saying it's going to start settling down.
Yeah, it's gonna be working its way to settling down. I'm vibing.
So if I can ask to give you a better understanding what you mean by settling down,
This
Chesh,
event
do you
will
think-
change. This event will finish, and then we won't see another event by the time we go live again.
Yeah. Also, could I ask, do you think this event will be a big fountain, or will it kind of dribble and gurgle, or?
I think we might get one more big vent, and then it'll stop. It'll gurgle its way out.
This event will gurgle.
Yeah, well, it's gonna, yeah, we might get one more big fountain, and then it'll just peter its way into settling down.
Okay. One big fountain, then gurgle out. Yep. Gotcha.
Okay, so chat, what are your predictions?
Smitty says that he counts Atlantis because Atlantis got brought up in the side chat during the stream.
So low energy Vids is saying the volcano in Tenerife and Lanzarote. What are these places? Will erupt in 5 years? 5
Made
years.
a
We gotta wait 5
5-year
years.
prediction.
I mean,
God damn it, dude.
But I think
You're
we didn't
cheating.
talk about what are your predictions that Kilauea is going to do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
mind if somebody made a prediction about like the Icelandic volcano or the volcano in like Stromboli or like the white volcano.
I mean, I could say Etna's going to be
Say
erupting,
the-
Stromboli's going to
but if-
erupting,
Yeah, if you want
Erica's
to
going to
make
be
a
erupting.
if you want to make a prediction about the Canary Islands, what's going to happen in the Canary Islands in the next month, not the next 5 years? You cheater! It's cheating.
Yeah, how many
I'll allow a
centuries
little
will
bit
it
of
be before
cheating,
Canada
but not
has
that
another
much
volcanic
cheating.
eruption? Yeah. Okay, so Kilauea. Are you going to comments about Kilauea?
There was
Maanyaa and I give
also
our-
a prediction from Athens about the Dow, but I missed it, so they might have to type it again.
What is it?
I missed
Said-
it. Yeah, something about the Dow and the volcano.
Okay. Can you write it again, Athens, please? Thank you. Anyone else, or else I'll make my prediction then.
Go ahead.
So you're saying that that if you talk about the Dow, because ICE questions Madam Pele's birth certificate and tries to arrest her and deport her?
And
What
then,
the
but the Dow is over 1500, so Madam Pele will
That's
be
okay.
still standing this time next month, says Sapphire.
Still standing.
So that means
So
that
does
I guess
that
it means that the
mean-
whole thing isn't gonna implode or explode by next month.
Madam Pele will be standing.
My prediction is that I don't think volcanoes. What he says, my prediction, I think Athens has a.
Prediction is that I honestly think none of the volcanoes matter if they blow or not. The Dow is over 50,000. Save it for the politics show.
Yeah.
When is that? That's
That's not really a
next
prediction,
week.
but
That's
I
the
get
week
the joke.
after. Yeah, it's the week after.
Official prediction is that.
Uh,
It says official prediction. It says volcano. Athens says volcano will continue what it's filling and stay the same with its outflow. The volcano will continue with what it's
fling.
filling, I guess.
Yeah. Well, no.
Fling.
Well, maybe. Athens.
fling?
Check your typing. Nice picture, by the way. Lovely Dairy Queen.
Okay,
you
can
got
I make
on
my
there.
prediction?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay. I'm going to say we are going to see 2 or 3 more episodes before the next show.
Hmm.
Yeah. 2 or 3.
And understand, folks, why that's plausible, because if episode 42 is starting kind of now, it's quite possible that episode 43 happens in 2 weeks and episode 44 happens just before or during.
We're gonna
the
turn
show.
off the stream and the volcano is gonna erupt like crazy.
What I
Okay,
will
so
say
Landon-
is, if I'll say just one more thing.
Okay, please.
We might just see one more episode if we see the same like break in the pattern that we saw in the DI events. Is that fair to say?
That.
No.
Yeah, like only one. If we see further disruption in the DI events.
I'm fading. I'm fading
Okay,
out.
so
I'm dying.
I predict.
Come back, Landon.
Landon predicts that.
Landon,
let's go back here.
Goomba.
Yeah.
I was
Goomba.
showing. Here it is. Here it is. Okay, there we go. Because of
Yeah,
watching
go on.
the events. So I predict that episode 42 will occur just after the show. Its fountain will not be as high as 41.
Not high.
And that the mountain will enter more DI cycles, and that we might get one other eruptive event before the show. So it's kind of like we're having because I would say we're having 42 is starting now. I predict 42 will have a fountain, but not a spectacular one like 41. The mountain will do a bunch more deflation, inflation events, and we might have one more episode between now and the show. So it's kind of like it's really saying there's going to be one between, because one starting
minimum
now
one.
will have one.
What are you doing, Jash?
Yeah.
Jash is so done today. She's just like, I'm done. I'm gonna die.
Now I am the Goomba.
Goomba.
Yeah. So my prediction is that 42
like
is starting now. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're kind of saying it's kind of like the second part of mine, where I'm saying if we have disrupted DI events like we had this time, a little bit of like, then it will be just one. So you're going kind of.
And I'm going to say, I'm going to go farther and say we'll have deflation, inflation events. So 42 will happen soon, right? So it's starting now, but it's 42. We'll have deflation, inflation events, and maybe one more eruption between now and the next show.
I am saying that if we are going to have DI events, then it will be 2 to 3 episodes before the next show. But if there's a disruption like we saw, then it will be just one. So I'm on the opposite side of you. So we are like.
Yeah, and we'll see. And of course, Madam Pele is going to say, "Hold my beer."
Yeah, and she's gonna be like, children.
Yes.
Bitch, please.
So that's the current set of things.
More accurate.
It is interesting to watch. I think by the morning, The question, of course, is it really going to
I'm
start
saying
overnight
next
or
6
not?
hours.
Is this
Yeah. I'm saying in next 6 hours it
my
can start.
my thing is that I think it's turned a corner, right? It had here's another deflation event, and going down microradian is a typical thing in a deflation. I think it's turned a corner. I think it's coming back up, and that's why you're seeing the glow. I think the next uplift is going to cause 42 to come out. It won't be as spectacular as 41, but remember 41 was a record. So that's not
Yeah,
saying
that was a record. Yeah, that's why I asked how high
right.
it was. Yeah.
Because look at the drop. I mean, at 41, we had a drop of over 35, almost 35 microradians in 41. Went way down.
Let's start the clock,
And
ladies,
and
and
it
see
would
how
have
it goes.
it would have probably erupted right now or before if it didn't start this DI event. So I think we'll get one DI event. Well, we'll get a it'll come up and come out because it's got so much magma near the surface, and then it's going to go into deflation events where it might get an eruption, but we'll see. It could be the earthquakes start again. Could be the magma starts moving. It could be that the thing says, I'm done for a while. You know, we'll see.
Hooray!
Alrighty.
We did a whole
Yay.
show in an hour and a half. Good job, everybody.
Damn.
When are we going to be, when's the next show?
Our next show should, in theory, be March 13th. Wow, we get two Friday the 13th in a row? Whoa.
Yeah, so happy Friday 13th. 13 is a wonderful prime number. Celebrate the primeness.
March 13th, something might be coming up.
Yeah, so it's 11 p.m. Eastern.
Oh, okay.
What are you talking about, you crazy person?
Okay, I like your craziness has infected me now. So yeah, okay.
Oh,
now
it's my fault.
I will point out what's happening
I
is
see.
the 29th
I
International Obfuscated. The 29th International Obfuscated C Code Contest is going to be ending on March 13th.
Great.
I'll have a pause in judging while we to do the volcano show. But that's fine.
Right.
But that's a gig. So IOCCC.org. You can go there, register. You still have a month to register and submit. One of the potential winners of the International Obfuscated Secret Contest.
Somebody in the chat said my uterus wandered over to Maanyaa, and now we're both hysterical. And then said, give me your bank accounts.
Tomorrow we have a rum and coke.
Tomorrow is rum and coke here, so make sure you like and subscribe and leave us a comment. And if you want a link to rum and coke to join in, let me know. I will try to get as many people as we can in. I believe Dapper's going to be there.
Start?
9 p.m. Eastern time. I believe Dapper's going to be there. I believe Landon is coming. We might see a Jordan. I believe Low Energy Vids is going to show. So we'll see.
So
probably Zero Lawn will be there.
15 minutes early, but this one, you'll start at 21 Eastern, which is 18 Pacific, right?
Yeah, give or take 15 minutes.
No. It's 21, 20, 19, 18. 18. Yeah.
All right. 9 Eastern.
And then of course we have a debate hub show on the 28th of February.
Yes, debate pub. So if you like politics talk and world news and a little bit of usually good news, we try to sneak in there every so often. You join us for that, and that is me, Dapper, Landon, and Maanyaa.
Yeah. Take care of yourself mentally. Please don't doom scroll on the news stuff. Have some fun.
Yourself.
Have a good weekend,
watch the
everybody.
volcano.
And happy Valentine's Day for anybody doing Valentine's Day shit.
Oh, yeah.
And happy Prime Number Day.
And happy Prime Number Day.
Alrighty.
Okay, I guess we're leaving. Bye.
Bye-bye.